Yes, we come to the featherweight division. So Commonwealth featherweight boxing title history. And we start in 1908, the year Jack Johnson won the title in the heavyweight division. But let's start. So I'll go again. So Commonwealth featherweight title boxing title history. It's 126 pounds or 9 stone. But like I say, we're starting in 1908, and that's the same year Jack Johnson got hold of Tommy Burns, finally chasing him around the world. Tommy Burns, cracking fighter. Shame he would have done well as a light heavy or a cruiser if there's one that round then. But smallest heavyweight champion ever. But obviously Johnson had everything, talent, size, a lot. And they shut off the cameras. Obviously the racial thing was going then a big time, and he was the first black heavyweight title champion until Joe Louis. They wouldn't let anyone near the heavyweight title till then. And this was on that was on Boxing Day this year, Rushcutters Bay, Melbourne, Australia. But we are here February 24th, which is the same date as Floyd Mayweather's birthday, 1977, obviously. But I'm digressing again. So, February 24th, 1908, peerless Jim Descroll from Wales wins on points over 15 rounds against Charlie Griffin from Australia in London, England. There we go. So here, and weirdly enough, there's a 7-year gap, but that is the same year that Jack Johnson lost his title to Jess Willard in the hot Havana sun. And there's obviously the picture of him shielding his face from the sun. That's in the heavyweight division. Obviously, he excelled around Europe, and he did a deal to come back to the States. He got him on some stupid law called the Mann Act, which I won't even go into detail. And he only just got a pardon from that. We go to that year, December the 18th, 1915. Lou Edwards from Wales wins by retirement in the 13th round against Jimmy Hill from Australia in Sydney, Australia. Now you have a long break here, a 19-year break to 1936, the same year of the Berlin Olympics, which when there was Hitler, he refused. He walked out the stadium when Jesse Owens, the coloured runner, won the golds in that. Obviously the rest is history, which I won't go into detail, but we are here on the 26th of December. And like I say, that was the same date in 1908 when Jack Johnson won his title. It's Boxing Day basically, when he won his title from Tommy Burns. But again, December the 26th, Boxing Day here in 1936. John McCrory from Scotland, yes, of course it is. Scotland, he's from Scotland. Wins on points over 12 rounds against Willie Smith from South Africa and Johannesburg, South Africa. Then we've got 1938. Now, again, this was the same time when Joe Louis got his revenge over Max Smelling. And he beat him in the first round. He beat him in the first round in June the 22nd, 1938. He got his revenge over Max Smelling, and this was obviously on the outbreak of war before America were getting involved, and they were worried about the title going to Germany for good, and Max Smelling had already stopped Louis, inflicted his only loss at this point. And somehow Joe Louis got the title shot instead of Max Smelling, and he beat James J. Braddock, getting put down, but beat him 8th round. And he defended against Tommy Farr from Wales, but he had to fight Max Smelling to be the sort of lineal champion really, and he just decimated him. It was carnage, pretty much. They said you could hear the squeals at the back of the stadium when he was hitting Max Smelling. Max Smelling was held up for Nazi propaganda, but he was actually a really nice guy. He wasn't what the media. He was used by his country basically, and he he hid 2 Jewish boys for his mate from the Germans, and that boy brought a book about him. Brought a book about Max Schmeling. He thought he was his hero, but yeah. So again, in the media, he was held up as a Nazi, which he definitely wasn't. But I'm digressing. So now very good friends, Joe Louis and Max Schmeling. So the German Max Schmeling. So November the 23rd, 1938, Jim Spider Kelly from Northern Ireland wins on points over 15 rounds against 15 rounds against Benny Kaplan from England. That's in Belfast, Ireland. Lovely. Belfast, Ireland. Then we go to 1939. June 28th, 1939. John Cusick from England wins on points over 15 rounds against Jim Spider Kelly, Northern Ireland, and Belfast, Ireland. So, 1940, February the 1st, 1940, Nell Tullerton from Liverpool, England, wins on points over 15 rounds against Johnny Cusack from England in Liverpool. Hometown for Nell Tullerton. Again, lanky fighter, good fighter. So, November the 2nd, 1940, Nell Tullerton from England wins on points over 15 rounds against Tommy Smith from England in Liverpool, England. Then 1945, end of the Second World War. There's a little bit of a gap there for 5 years, but understandable there. There's been longer gaps here. But again, it's just 5 years there. So February 23rd, 1945, Nell Tullerton from England wins on points over 15 rounds against Al Phillips from England in Manchester, England. Then March the 18th, 1947, Al Phillips from England wins on points over 15 rounds against Cliff Anderson in London, England. And July the 2nd, 1947, Al Phillips from England wins by disqualification against Cliff Anderson in London, England. Then September 11th, 1947, Ronnie Clayton from England wins on points over 15 rounds against Al Phillips in England, Liverpool. From England he was, and it was in Liverpool, England. And we've got April 11th, 1949, Ronnie Clayton from England wins on points over 15 rounds against Johnny Malloy from England in Nottingham, England. August 11th, 1949, Ronnie Clayton from England wins by KO in a 12th round against Eddie Miller from Australia in Liverpool, England. Then we've got 1950, the year that Uruguay win the World Cup for the second time. It's the only time. Did it win 2 times? Yeah, but they only won it twice. They won it in 1930, definitely. It was in their own country, but they won it in Brazil here. And Brazil hadn't won the World Soccer Cup to this point. They get it for the first time in 58 in Sweden. But in 1950 here, Uruguay win the World Soccer Cup in Brazil. So we got November the 28th, 1950. Ronnie Clayton from England wins on points over 15 rounds against Jim Kenny from Scotland in London, England. Now 1951, let's call this Sugar Ray Robinson's year. Obviously, he had 11 fights, and yeah, he revenged a loss against Dick Turpin from Leamington Spa in 60 days. He stopped him, but he had a lot of trouble. He fought him first on July the 10th, 1951, and yes, he lost on points in England. Then Turpin took the advice of his manager and fought him 60 days later. Not a good move, and he got stopped. He also cut Robinson, and the referee said to Robinson, I'm going to stop it if you don't do something this round. He come out and finished Randy Turpin. I said Dick Turpin there. Dick Turpin was his brother, actually, not the highwayman, but Randy Turpin, yeah. And yes, he would go into wrestling actually when he retired. So he got more injuries from show wrestling. He did boxing, but back to Robinson this year, 11 fights, and he also beat Jake LaMotta for the 6th and last time, and he actually stopped him the last time. Always used to, he's quite similar in a way to Ali when he fought Fraser for the 3rd time. He actually stopped him the last time he fought him. But yeah, so February 26th, 1951, Ronnie Clayton from England wins on points over 15 rounds against Al Phillips from England in Nottingham, England. And then April the 30th, 1951, Royan Cara. Remember an old boy I used to work with talking about him, and I swear that was him he was talking about with a bolo shot. Black Flash Ankara. It might be a similar name, but anyway, he's from Ghana. Wins on points. Roy Ankara wins on points over 15 rounds against Ronnie Clayton from England. Now, 1952, you had the Helsinki Olympics with Paavo Nurmi from that country, etc. And also, on June the 5th, 1952, Walcott beat Charles for the 2nd time. Yeah, they had a right old, yeah, it's one of the best knockouts I saw actually when Walcott knocked Charles out when he beat him the 1st time. He lost him a couple of times, it might be 2 or 3 times. So they had a right few fights there. But Ray Arnold Cream, when he did win that world title, which Ray Arnold Cream was Joe Walcott, he took his name from Barbados Walcott, the welterweight, many years before. But his real name is Ray Arnold Cream. Lovely name, both the Ray Arnold Cream. And he was the oldest champion till Foreman years later beat Mora in his 40s. But yeah, so I'm digressing. This same year, 1952, Helsinki Olympics year. On February 25th, Ray Ankara from Ghana wins by retirement in the 13th round against Ronnie Clayton from England in Nottingham. Now, 1954, this was the only time the World Soccer Cup been held in Switzerland, and Germany won it. That was October the 2nd, 1954. Bill Spider Kelly from Northern Ireland wins on points over 15 rounds against Roy Ankara from Ghana in Belfast, Ireland. Then you got 1955, January the 22nd, 1955. Bill Spider Kelly from Northern Ireland wins on points against Sammy McCarthy from England in Belfast, Ireland. November the 19th, 1955, Hogan Kid Bassi from Nigeria, good fighter, wins by a KO in the 8th round. Against Bill Spider Kelly from Northern Ireland in Belfast, Ireland. Then you've got 1957, April the 1st, 1957, Hogan Kid Bassi from Nigeria wins on points in the 15th round against Percy Lewis from Trinidad. That was in Nottingham. Then you've got December 9th, 1957, Percy Lewis from Trinidad wins in 10th round. Referee stops the fight against Charlie Hill from Scotland in Nottingham. Now, December the 7th, 1959, Percy Lewis from Trinidad wins on by KO in the 2nd round against John O'Brien from Scotland. That was in Nottingham. Now, 1960, year of the Rome Olympics, which the then Cassius Clay, soon to be Muhammad Ali, won gold in the light heavyweight division. And yes, he would also actually turn pro that year, win 2 pro matches. His first ever pro match was against Tony Hunsucker in his hometown, Kentucky. Hometown, is it town? Oh, it's home. Anyway, he's home. And he beat Tony Hunsucker on points on the 29th of October 1960. And his second fight was against Herb Seller, and he beat Ali beat him on the 27th of December, the end of the year, 1960. A lot going on that year in history of boxing. But we're November the 26th here, 1960. Floyd Robertson from Ghana wins on points over 15 rounds against Percy Lewis from Trinidad in Belfast, Ireland. So we have 1962, the only Chile World Cup, which Brazil win their second title. They win their third World Soccer title in 1970 in Mexico. So we got August the 4th, 1962 here. Floyd Robertson from Ghana wins on points over 15 rounds against Love Alotti from Ghana in Accra, Ghana. 1963, it's the year when the first Kennedy was assassinated. And October the 5th, this is 1963, Floyd Robertson from Ghana wins 11th round. Referee stops the fight against Joe Tete from Ghana. And that was in Accra, Ghana. And you got 1967. 1967 there. February 3rd, 1967, John O'Brien from Scotland wins by retirement against Floyd Robertson from Ghana in Accra, Ghana. Then, November the 24th, 1967, Johnny Fermacho from Australia, cracking fighter, in quite a bad car crash later on in his life. November the 24th, 1967, Johnny Fermacho from Australia wins, referee stops the fight in the 11th round against John O'Brien from Scotland in Melbourne, Australia. 1968, year of the Mexico Olympics, where George Foreman wins gold. We're here at September, and Martin Luther King got assassinated that year, unfortunately, in history. And we're here at September the 13th, 1968. Johnny Fermacho from Australia wins in the 12th round. Referee stops the fight against Billy McGrandle from Canada in Melbourne, Australia. Now 1970, this is where Brazil pick up their third World Cup in a soccer. And yeah, they beat England on the way there. Goal save of the century by Gordon Banks. 1970 here. December the 12th, 1970, we go Toro George from New Zealand wins. Referee stops the fight in the 6th round against Ken Bradley from Australia in Canberra, Australia. Now 1971, this is the year. This is the same year of the first Ali v Fraser match. Ali v Fraser match. That was March the 8th, 1971. And we're here September the 6th, 1971, where Toro George from New Zealand wins on points. Toro George from New Zealand wins on points against Evan Armstrong from Scotland in Melbourne, Australia. Now 1972, year of the Munich Olympics, the terrorist kidnappings, etc. A wrestler got shot there, amongst other sort of stuff going on. Filio Stevenson puts an appearance, wins gold. And we got November the 3rd, that's the second Olympics in Germany. The other one was in Berlin, 1936. We're here 1972, November the 3rd, 1972. Bobby Dunn from Australia wins on points over 15 rounds against Toro George from New Zealand in Melbourne, Australia. Now 1974, there's two things went on here. We had the second Ali Fraser fight, which Ali wins. He loses the first in 1971, but he wins the second in 1974 here, and 28th of January 1974. And again, both went the distance then. But also, you had in that year, Ali shocked the world on 30th of October 1974. He shocked the world by beating George Foreman, knocking him out in the 8th round. And this was a man who destroyed Ken Norton, and also Fraser, who Ali had hard matches with, but he destroyed Foreman. And again, it's rock, paper, scissors in boxing. But anyway, so I'm going to come back to 1974. April the 5th, 1974, Evan Armstrong from Scotland wins, referee stops the fight in the 8th round against Bobby Dunn from Australia in Brisbane, Australia. July the 8th, 1974, Evan Armstrong wins from Scotland, Evan Armstrong from Scotland wins, referee stops the fight in the 11th round against Alan Richardson from England in London, England. Then December the 7th, 1974, Dave Poison Cote from Ghana wins in 10th round by retirement from cuts on Evan Armstrong from Scotland in Accra, Ghana. Now 1977, the year Floyd Money Mayweather Jr. was born, 24th of February 1977 that was, but we're here June the 17th, 1977. Eddie Ndukwa from Nigeria wins, referee stops the fight in the 12th round against Alan Richardson from England. Then December the 9th, 1977, Eddie Ndukwa from Nigeria wins by retirement in the 8th round from a cut on Alan Richardson from England in Lagos, Nigeria. 1978, year of the Argentina Soccer World Cup, which Argentina win in their own country, and also win in 86 in Mexico. But here, October the 3rd, 1978, Eddie Ndukwa from Nigeria wins on points over 15 rounds against David Cote from Ghana in Lagos, Nigeria. Then in 1979, September the 28th, 1979, Eddie Ndukwa from Nigeria wins by retirement in the 8th round against Henry Sadler from Ghana in Lagos, Nigeria. Now 1980, the Moscow Olympics year, which the USA boycott. Yeah, they had a bad plane crash, the US team actually. There was a few people, Marvis Fraser was meant to be on it, but Joe Fraser stopped him going on it. He wasn't impressed with the safety. He said he had a premonition of his son dying, and yeah, stopped him going on that because they were sort of doing different events to keep them busy because the Moscow Olympics weren't there. And Tony Tucker didn't get on that flight, and they were sort of saved. But again, yeah, a few bad deaths in that year. It was 1980. I swear it was 1980. It was that time when they weren't in the Moscow Olympics. But yes, so Moscow Olympics that year. So August the 1st, 1980, Pat Ford from Guyana wins by retirement in the 9th round against Eddie Ndukwa from Nigeria in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, September 26th, 1981, Aguma Nelson, that's got to be a Zuma Nelson, it is a Zuma Nelson, I'm sure. Yeah, Zuma Nelson from Ghana, all-time great, Zuma Nelson, wins in the 5th round. Referee stops the fight against Brian Robertson in Australia, in Accra, Ghana. That's where he's from. A fishing village there. December the 4th, 1981, Azuma Nelson, the former tribesman from a tribesman village, descendants. Azuma Nelson from Ghana wins by KO in the 6th round against Kibiru Akindalek. And again, they had a right old trilogy with Jeff Fenech. Yeah, he had a controversial one. He won. He said he was ill. Then this next fight, he stopped Fenech. But they end up fighting years later when nearer 50, I think they both were then. And Fenech got his revenge on points win. So it's 3 fights, yeah. Great fight. He lost to Salvador Sanchez before he died at 23. The motorcycle accident. in the 15th round, coming as a late substitute. Oh, I've got that on VHS somewhere. Not VHS, I've got it on VHS and I've got it on DVD. Zooming Nelson, cracking fighter. So yeah, back to 1981. 26th of September 1981. Zooming Nelson from Ghana wins in the 5th round. Referee stops the fight against Brian Roberts from Australia in Accra, Ghana. December the 4th, Zooming Nelson wins by KO in the 6th round against Kabiri Akindele from Nigeria in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Now in 1982, year of the Spain Soccer World Cup with Italy win. February 28th, 1982, Azumi Nelson from Ghana wins in 10th round. Referee stops the fight against Charm Chichula from Zambia. Now, November the 2nd, 1983, Azuma Nelson from Ghana wins in the 9th round. Referee by KO, should I say, against Kibiri Akindele from Nigeria in Lagos, Nigeria. So we go up the page to 1986. Yes, we go to Tyrone. Yeah, so 1986, year that Argentina will win their 2nd World Soccer World Cup in Mexico. And the first time they won it, not in their country. And we go to February 28th, 1986. Tyrone Downs from Trinidad wins on points over 12 rounds against Snake Madaya from Zimbabwe. And that was in Port of Spain, Trinidad. Again, remember Kilimanjaro come from there. That same country, I'm sure it's Zimbabwe. Yeah, and fortunately died of AIDS very young. It's, Snake Mandaya from Zimbabwe gets beat. 12 rounds points decision to Tyrone Downs in Port of Spain, Trinidad. Not to be married up with Terry Downs, the middleweight Marine, who beat Shuray Robinson at the end of his career, as did Paul Pender. I'm digressing. So 1987, year of the first Rugby World Cup, which New Zealand won. But this is May the 23rd, 1987. Tyrone Downs from Trinidad wins in the 5th round by retirement against Ray Akwe from Zimbabwe in Port of Spain, Trinidad. So that's the end of the featherweight Commonwealth boxing title history. Bang.